The actual beginning, though it's not really the beginning, but the actual flashpoint was, I remember very clearly. I can still see the corner in my house in 20 Northmore Road where it happened. I got an enormous pile of exam papers there, and marking school examinations in the summertime is an enormous, very laborious, and unfortunately also boring. And I remember picking up a paper and actually I nearly gave an extra mark for it, extra 5 marks, actually. There was one page on this particular paper was left blank. Glorious. Nothing to read, so I scribbled on it. I can't think why. In a hole in the ground there lived a hobbit. I think that was eventually published in 1937. I now wanted to try my hand at writing a really stupendously long narrative and to see whether I had sufficient art, cunning, or material to make a really long narrative which would hold the average reader right through. People do not fully understand the difference between an allegory and an application. You can go to a Shakespeare play and you can apply it to things in your mind if you like, but they're not allegories. At least most of them are not. There's more allegorical elements, for instance, in the Tempest than in most, but certainly, I mean, many people apply to the ring, to particularly the nuclear bomb, don't they? I think that was in my mind, the whole thing is only an allegory of it. Well, it isn't. One reviewer once said, this is a jolly jolly book, isn't it? All the right boys come home and everybody's happy and glad. It isn't true, of course. You can't have read the story. If you really come down to any large story, it interests people, can hold them attention for a considerable time, or make... stories, practically always, a human story is practically always about one thing, aren't they? Death. The inevitability of death. I don't know, would you agree with that? But anyway, that is what, there was a quotation from Simon Beauvoir that I read in the paper the other day, which seems to me put it in a nutshell. I think I'll read it to him. There is no such thing as a natural death. Nothing that happens to man is ever natural, since his presence calls the whole world into question. All men must die, but for every man his death is an accident, and even if he knows it and consents to it, an unjustifiable violation. Well, you may agree with words or not, but those are the key spring of the laws of the ring. I first began seriously to invent languages about when I was 13 or 14. I've never stopped, really. Languages have a flavour to me, which I never understand people saying, for instance, it was awfully dry and dull, because a new language to me is just like taking a new wine or a new sweetmeat or something. What I'm doing now is to try and write in Elvish, because my writing is very inferior to the Elv. Their standard greeting when meeting: a star shines upon our meeting. Oh, Lord. I made a mistake, didn't I? And that stands for Ellen, Sila, Lumen, Aumenti Elvo. It's a rather beautiful language, I think. Food? Never been a trencherman. I admire trenchermen, therefore I make... But I like, I must say, since England produces the best basic food in Europe, on the whole, it does. Yes, I drink things with tea. I like, of course, feeling elevated, but I'm very fond of beer. I've always smoked. I sometimes smoke beyond the point when you enjoy it, which is silly, but I do smoke and enjoy it, and as a matter of fact, it's now so tied to writing that I can't write without it. Ashnazga Gimbatul, Ashnazga Thrakatuluk, Achburzumishekrim. Hobbits, oh, well, you meet them, you know. There's hobbits by nature and hobbits by stature, and there's hobbits who happen to be both, yeah.